What's up, Curious Readers? I'm Def from Def's Book Summaries, and today I'm going to be talking about a book called The Day of Doom from the 39 Clues. So, the 39 Clues is a series in which each book is written by a different author. So, this one is written by David Baldacci. And David Baldacci is a 59-year-old novelist who lives in Virginia, USA. So the 39 Clues series itself consists of 4 other sub-series inside this 39 Clues. So the 4 other sub-series are the Clue Hunt, the Cahos versus the Vespers, the Unstoppable Double Cross, and the Super Special. So this is the Cahos versus the Vespers. This is book 6 and the final book of the series Cahos versus Vespers. So in this series, the Cahos are the good people who are trying to fight the evil Vespers who plan to destroy the world. So in this book, the main characters from the Cahos are Dan and Amy, who are siblings, and they work with other families who are wanting to stop the Vespers from doing all these evil things. And the Vespers is an organization that wants to destroy the world. So to do that, the Vespers kidnapped a bunch of people from the Cahill family, and when the Dan and Amy demanded the Vespers to release them, the Vespers said that if Dan and Amy do a bunch of things for them, then will they only release the prisoners. So Dan and Amy do the things for them, but the Vespers, since they're evil, they lie, obviously, and they did not release the prisoners, and they kept them hostage. So, in order to rescue them and everything, Dan and Amy, they got in contact with their other allies, and they went to Washington, D.C., which was where Isabel, who is Vesper 2, was going. So, Vesper 2 is basically the second strongest Vesper. So she was going to Washington, D.C. for some reason we don't know about, but Dan and Amy were going to find out soon enough. So after they get to Washington, D.C., they find out that Isabel was interested in a compass behind or inside a museum in Lewis, which had the stage of Lewis and Clark, which are like old explorers, sea navigators and things. So they find out a bunch of numbers written behind the compass, and they find out that those numbers actually are the coordinates for the Sadi Mountains, or whatever they're called. So then Dan and Amy, they take a train to the Sadi Mountains, but then on their way to the mountains, they find that Isabel and her men were on the same train they were on, and Isabel's men were way more stronger than them. So once they meet when they were on the train due to some incident, and then they have a fight. So one man dies during that fight, and Isabel gets away with one of the allies Dan and Amy were working with. So then in order to search for that other person who was kidnapped, his name is Atticus. So in order to search for them, they start roaming around the train. But then the train suddenly comes to a stop inside a tunnel in the Rocky Mountains. So since the train comes to a stop in the tunnel, Dan thinks that someone is about to get off in the tunnel. And he thinks, why would someone want to get off in a mountain? So he decides to try some coding, like to encode some messages in case he finds out something. So when he gets to encoding the numbers behind the compass, he finds out that someone had actually edited the numbers behind the compass to mislead Dan and Amy so that they go for the Sadi Mountains and not the Rocky Mountains. And the original coordinates were actually of the Rocky Mountains. So Dan and Amy get off over there to find Atticus and Isabel and all the Vespers. And when they were doing this, the other hostages somehow escaped. And when they escaped, they split apart so they don't get caught again. And one group finds Dan and Amy. and the other group finds the actual device which the Vespers were making, which is called the Doomsday Device. So the Doomsday Device is basically a device which destroys the world. So because this device destroys the world, they tried to destroy the device. But the device was electrified, so one person died in the process of trying to destroy the device. So the Doomsday Device, as it is called, is made up of the bunch of artifacts and things the Cahos, Dan, and Amy did for the Vespers. And so those things is what makes up the Doomsday Device. So when they find it, they try to destroy it, but then Vesper 1, the strongest Vesper, comes in with the last ingredient, which he found by himself, so then because he didn't want to trust anyone else finding it for him. And Vesper 1 doesn't even trust Vesper 2 and everyone that follows. He just trusts himself and one of his men whose name is Sandy. So he works with him. And because the Vespers were not united, Dan and Amy found a breakthrough to beat the Vespers. And then while this was happening, Isabel, who had got hold of a serum, which is basically what the main clue hunt books are on. So the 39 Clues main clue hunt books are on finding some ingredients to make the serum, which if anyone drinks, it makes them the strongest human on earth. So she finds that serum and she drinks it. So after she drinks it, she becomes really powerful and mad. So she goes to the Doomsday Device and she destroys the device because she wanted to become Vesper 1. But when she got there to destroy the device, it was too late. The device was already activated to destroy the world. So the Rocky Mountains collapsed on top of her and the device and on top of Vesper 1. So that killed the whole Vesper clan. But Dan, Amy, and the other Cahos, they got out of the mountain somehow. And Amy got injured in the process. And she fainted after that. She thought she was dead. But then when the Cahos took her to a hospital, she finally awakens up because the doctors were thinking she died looking at her body things and everything. And then she actually goes to the land of dead. She talks with a bunch of dead people she knows from the Cahill family. And then Dan and the doctors shake her and they wake her up into the normal mortal world. And so she has survived, and so has everyone else. So that was the end of the book. And next time I'm going to be talking about a book which is part of the 39 Clues. But it is about the main clue hunt. So you're going to get to know more about what the clue hunt is and the serum and everything. And so what I learned from this book, like it happens everywhere, the truth always wins. Like the Cahos were the good people, they were being truthful. And so they won because the Vespers were being false and trying to destroy the world and everything. And another thing, unity always wins because the Vespers were not united. They were fighting against each other that they couldn't concentrate on their main goal of destroying the world, that the Cahos found a breakthrough and they beat them. And so I'd like you to comment down below in the comment section about what you think I can improve on. So next time I'm going to be working on those things. And you can also suggest some books you would want me to give summaries on. Thank you.